Good afternoon. Welcome to Price Plan Profit. This is Melissa, and today I want to go over and review the trades that I took today. I have been taking it pretty easy in the market just due to where prices are at and keeping my focus more on shorter term unless I get the pullbacks that I'm looking for in some swing trade ideas. If you don't know what those ideas are, check out the live session that I did on Saturday. I went over potential swing trades on pullbacks that I would be looking for this week. But I'm going to start off here on SPX. I did day trade SPX, just scalp type trading on SPX. On the chart, you will see a red zone. This is a supply zone. There was a 2-hour inside and down formation here. The cyan colored box on the screen is the PMZ or pre-market zone. I manually put this on my SPX chart and I base it off of where the ES futures PMZ is at. Because SPX does not have pre-market action, it doesn't print its own pre-market zone. But I've been doing this now for about a month and it is working out very, very well. I've almost doubled my account in the last few weeks just trading SPX from the PMZ and from the zones on my chart. The gray zone down here represents a golden pocket. For me, that's the 50 and the 618 fib levels. Price never made it into this gray zone today, but it did make it into the red zone, and that's actually the trade that I'll talk about here in a minute. Let's start by just talking about from where today opened, which is on this candle here. So this morning we opened up below the PMZ. You had an opportunity on a conservative or aggressive approach to go short below this PMZ this morning, but I did not like the price action. Now, granted, I could have caught about 5 points to the downside a couple of times going short below the PMZ. It did not provide an opportunity to go long above the PMZ until this candle right here. What I did not like about going long above the PMZ is that there is an upper monthly edge, upper trendy edge just above the PMZ, and it was less than 3 points above the PMZ. I did not go long here above the PMZ because of that monthly edge being right above it. I mean, if you went long here, you could have caught a 1.5. For me, it just wasn't worth it, so I stayed out. And I did not like the first hour or two of price action around the PMZ. So no trades in SPX for me until price made it into the red zone. And in our SPX alerts room, I put a note on this chart and I share this chart with the room all day long, putting notes and letting them see the positions and my bids and all of that. So I wrote the note, if trying to short, I'd be looking for lower highs and or trendy turns inside of this zone. That right here at 12:10 p.m. Eastern time is when this short idea set up. We made a high up here at about 64.07 on SPX. The next candle created a lower high. That is when I put my bid in to go short at 64.04. Once price went below 64.04 or got popped back up to 64.04, my bid was filled. Now on this chart, my first target is the PMZ because this represents an area of support when price is above it. I exited one of my contracts here at the PMZ. And then once price crossed down below the PMZ, that is where at each of these levels that you see, so 63.90, I trailed my stop down. Then when price hit 63.87, I again trailed my stop down and was trail stopped out on that final contract there. I was happy with my profits. My bias was still to the downside in the market. I had some things come up that I wasn't really able to be actively scalping this towards the end of the day, unfortunately, but my bias was to the downside ever since price got below the PMZ and price stayed below the 5-minute cloud. That's never going to change for me. My bias is to the upside while price is above the PMZ, and the only time that I will trade against that bias is in a zone after confirmation, which was a trade that I put on. Once price goes below the PMZ, my bias is to the downside. And in my experience, the easiest trades for me come when I am trading based on that bias and not trying to trade against it. So that was the play on SPX from the moment price went below this PMZ, which was 12:55 p.m. Eastern time. We never even got a close back inside of the PMZ, let alone back above it. Therefore, from 12:55 all the way to the end of the day, the bias was to the downside for me. I did not try to go long from any of these levels because once price was below the PMZ, remember I said the only way that I like to trade against what my bias is in these zones on my chart. So up here, this was a zone to go short against a bullish bias, and down here would be the zone that I would have been looking to go long against a bearish bias, and this one just never set up today. But I'm happy with my SPX trading again. Another green day using my SPX chart. Other than that, I also had a trade in NVDA. I have had a position in NVIDIA since last week. I am trading around and just keeping anywhere from 2 to 3 contracts. I am buying August 15th, 182.50 calls is the strike and the expiration that I'm trading this week. So coming into the day, I had 2 contracts. I knew that if price pulled back to the PMZ, I was going to add back to that 3rd contract. And I did. I got that opportunity right here on this candle at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I added the 182.50 calls here for $2.50, I believe. I trimmed that one at $2.90 or $2.91 right up here at resistance, and then told the room that if we could get up to Friday's high, which was 183.88, I would trim one of my 2 remaining contracts there. And I did get that opportunity trimmed out. So now in this NVIDIA position, I have 1 contract remaining. That means going into tomorrow, what my trade plan will look like is this. I'm going to go to a 2-hour chart because that is the time frame that I would prefer trading off of as far as target zones go. So let me show you where we have that 2-hour inside and down formation, or for me that equals a target to the upside. We did create that formation back here on the 30th and 31st of July. and price has not made it back up there. So for the one remaining contract that I have, this is my target for my final contract. And if price can make it up to there, my plan is to place a trailing stop once that happens. Now, in the meantime, I would be adding back into 2 more contracts to be back up to my 3 contracts that I want to trade throughout the week. So if I'm looking here for inside and down candle formations that cause some stoppage, right? A kind of a brick wall here, so to speak. You can see we have an inside and down here. We have an inside and down here. These are targets before price gets to this 185 level where I plan to place a trail stop on my last remaining contract. As far as the downside goes and a target to the downside or a buy the dip zone tomorrow on NVDA for me, that comes right here. We created inside and up candle formation this morning at 181.13 to 179.03. So my plan tomorrow is this. Either A, we wake up and price has fallen overnight and we find ourselves in this green zone. If that happens, then my plan will be to add the 2 remaining contracts inside of this zone. The first contract here at the top of the zone by 180.62 and the second contract down towards the bottom of this zone 179.68 by 179.03. So that's the first scenario. If I wake up, price is in the green zone, that's where I will be adding back to 3 contracts. If I wake up and price really hasn't changed overnight, I will look at the PMZ and wherever it is setting up, when price gets above the PMZ, that's when I'll add those 2 remaining contracts, again targeting the same area that I targeted today. 183.06 to 183.88 is where I would trim one of those contracts and then target 185 up here. So that's what I did today in NVIDIA, made some money on 2 of the 3 contracts. And tomorrow, that will be my plan going into the morning, adding back those 2 contracts that I made money off of today. Other than that, I have a couple of other swing trades on HIMS. Honestly, this expires in September. I am still looking for my ad on HIMS, and price just is right at where I got into it, right at this $50 level. If price pulls back to 47.87, that is where I plan to add to full allocation on this trade with a stop below 45.04. That would be a daily candle stop. And then here are trim targets back to the upside, and then the ultimate target at 65 to 73. I have Freeport. I have that one contract that I'm trading around on in NVIDIA, and then the HIMS position. As far as Freeport goes, this is on, again, a longer to expiration September contract. You can see on the weekly chart, today's candle, it was down, but not down big. It came inside the body of last week's candle. It's inside this weekly cloud. Nothing to do there. And as far as the daily chart, here's your upper weekly edge. We are expecting resistance. You also have the 50 and the 21 SMA up here, which is resistance. Nothing for me to do on this trade. I'm just sitting back and waiting. Either we get up in here where I will be trimming out some of the position, or we sit around and chop. I still have plenty of time to expiration, so I'm setting all my hands on that trade. Everything else in my portfolio is long term. One leap trade on TLT with nothing to do as I have a lot of time to expiration, and everything else is equity. So my portfolio is very thin. I am in over 90% cash overall, and I like it that way given the current market conditions. The market is very bullish. So my focus is to the upside for my swing trades. But until my entry triggers are hit, I am not going to just jump in early because I'm afraid that I will miss out. Not going to happen for me. I will remain disciplined, and I hope you will as well. Whatever your trade plan is, I encourage you to just stick to that trade plan. Whether it is you're risking being stopped out of a position or a new trade that you're looking to get into, please be disciplined. Wait for those triggers, wait for the stop, and trade according to your plan. All right, that's all I have for you this evening as far as trade reviews go. If you're not a part of the Trendy Trading Room or the SPX Room at Simpler Trading, I invite you to check out the link at the bottom of this video where you can get a 30-day trial for only $7. Come in, listen to me and Trendy John. We trade our own money in real time every day, Monday through Friday. And I think that you will have a wonderful experience. I am completely confident in that. So join us if you're not already a part of the room. Have a great day.